Starting a business is hard. Staying in business is even harder. Here are some stories from our members on the South Side. My name is Al Ariola Jr., President and CEO for the South San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to present our podcast, The Business. Thank you for joining us and welcome to The Business Podcast. My name is Al Ariola Jr., President and CEO for the South Chamber, and I am joined today by Elisa Gutierrez. Thank you for joining us. She is with HEB, a little grocery store that you might know in San Antonio. Today we're staying masked up because she is going back to work, and HEB, if you're familiar, has really stepped up the game this year in keeping consumers safe. I believe you guys were accoladed nationwide as how you handled the pandemic, as an exemplary model of keeping not only consumers safe but your employees. So, Elisa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, do you want to tell folks which HEB you're at?
Sure. So I am at the HEB off of Military and Goliad.
Okay.
So pretty close to here. So yeah, I've been there a whole 5 months.
A whole 5 months. Well, exciting 5 months, huh?
Very exciting.
What's been going on? I mean, if you're not familiar with the Brooks area, obviously things have been changing fast, but a lot of big changes there, huh?
Absolutely. So obviously we just remodeled the store. So company went really big and invested a ton of money and just into some little niches inside the store that obviously we're getting a really great response from our community. So we have a cheese shop in there. We have healthy living. So yeah, some pretty cool beer and wine selections.
A big one.
Yes. In comparison to what we had before.
Right.
We've done some amazing things. We have some amazing partners. If you've shopped there, then you know they greet you obviously with smiling eyes since you can't see the face.
True.
So yeah, it's been a really cool journey to be part of.
Well, something folks might not know also too is, and I've actually purchased plants there. You guys have like a garden center, if you will, right?
Yes. So we have a Texas front yard. First year that we were carrying trees, Christmas trees.
I didn't see those. Okay.
Yeah. So again, there's still, I run into customers as I'm walking the sales floor, and they will just automatically say, "Oh my goodness, how beautiful is this store?" And you know what I really love? And you know what? Y'all should have added a bigger parking, or that they want Mia's Mirror, which is obviously it's a little boutique inside the store. I'm like, man, we have no space. We're already tight.
Well, you've got land on the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I've noticed it looks gorgeous. The remodel, the different sections. Some of our staff lives here on Brooks, and so that's their go-to HEB, and I've seen them on their Insta stories and talking about the cheeses and all the crazy things that you guys have now. So how long have you been with HEB?
So I've been with them 12 years. Graduated from UTSA, and then said, okay, now I need to go look for a real job so I can pay my student loans, right? Because we all know how those start kicking after the 6 months.
Right.
So came on board to HEB. They gave me an offer, and I said, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 year. And then I'm going to go look for a real job. Then I'm going to go look, banking hours. And, the best way that I can put it is I fell in love with the company.
It's not a bad company to work for, huh?
It's an amazing company to work for.
Right.
And when I truly say, think about it, right? Like truly falling in love. So I would see on our name badges, we have our years of service. And I would see 30 years of service, 35 years of service. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, right? For somebody to dedicate their entire life, right? And these are our bakery partners, maintenance partners, like for them to dedicate their whole life. I thought, man, this company, there's something here that I'm missing, that I'm not getting.
Something's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this is where I want to be. Right. So then, and then I got to learn the business aspect, running an actual business that's doing a lot of volume, a lot of tonnage. There's a lot of fun into being challenging, so you're competitive because we're competitive with each other in the industry. So yeah, we always want to be number one.
Well, you guys are certainly number one in San Antonio without a doubt, and I know obviously the expansion statewide has been significant and continues to happen. Mentioning not a bad company to work for, that and the folks that dedicate their almost like a lifetime of service, that's not an accident. Like you said, that's a commitment because HEB has showed a commitment to them and their lives too. You mentioned your partners. I know that's something you're very proud of. All your coworkers there at HEB. Is there something you wanted to? I know you've been your involvement with our chamber and your vision, I guess, if you will, is maybe there are some partners that aren't in it for the long haul, but there's industries and spaces that are partners in the area that maybe they can get connected to, so to speak, right?
Absolutely. So, and this is kind of a misnomer, right?
Right.
Working in the stores, you might think, okay, well, you know what? I don't necessarily want to be a produce manager. That's kind of, but because I work in produce, that's what, HEB has to offer, and that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
So we have our own pilots, we have recruiting, there are a multiple things that we do. We're really focused around health and wellness, right? So again, who would have known that we were going to be hiring counselors and that we were going to be hiring different areas of the industry that we need a staff.
So it's not just the partners in the grocery store now; it's an army that around you that helps get the job done. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess when a lot of folks maybe don't think in those layers, you're certainly making me think that's right. The layers of services that you guys need and probably are now in housing those services. Can you tell me a little bit more about, I guess, plans for the future, or what's gonna? You guys are going to continue to do what you do there at the Goliad location. Is there anything you can tease us with that you know about, or?
No, not really. I think what I can say is I think everything's going to be in our shelves. So I know that's been a frustration for customers because our layout was a little wonky just with the remodel. So grocery aisles were like sideways.
I remember,
yeah. So it made it really difficult for them to shop. So I can say that everything will be there for at least 6 months. That's what I can say. But that's as far as I know right now.
Well, and you started, getting this store going, this location going in the midst of a pandemic, huh?
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw some resiliency with your staff, your team, you yourself, getting out there and reminding yourself what you guys are doing. You have anything you want to share on that? I mean, how proud you are, I'm sure, of everyone.
Oh, super proud. Super, super proud. So I will tell you, it's something we call the Spirit of HEB. And so when you meet partners, and again, unless you work for the company, then you understand. Like your friends and family might be like, why are you so dedicated, right? Or why do you work those long hours? But it's truly like we are there for our customers and we're there for each other, right? It's a community of just... what's the best way I can explain it is just the spirit of HEB.
Yeah. And
when you truly see it come to life. One thing I can share with you is personally, like just experiencing it myself. So I was in a pretty bad car accident last year, and I ended up having a mild traumatic brain injury. Uh-huh. And so when that happened, I was rallied around by my HEB people. Like they were sending me gift baskets, they were sending me well wishes, texts, calls. I mean, it was everything.
Just as much as your family.
Just as much.
Your family. They are your family.
And if not even more sometimes,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
I would get, in which now I do this in return, is I will send out, like if there's something that I know somebody's going through something, they had surgery or something, I will send them like just a prayer quote. And they're like, hey, maybe we haven't worked together in years, but I still think of them. Or I'll send them cookies, or I'll send them something just to let them know, like, hey, you're not alone, right? We all go through these pits in our life, and that's okay. But I think it's so important for us to know that you have somebody behind you and somebody praying for you and somebody letting you know that it's going to be okay.
And that you guys are truly a family. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. So this is tangent a bit, but I mean, it just goes to speak to the culture. My wife works for Raise Your Hand Texas, which Mr. Butt invests almost exclusively into this organization. And where she loves working for it is everything I'm hearing you say is the culture, and it's a very yes and, not a no but a very yes and a can do culture that it's obvious and it shows. In the pandemic there was a lot of interesting consumer patterns, if you will.
The toilet paper, is this where we're headed?
Well, you saw some frantic buying. HEB, like I mentioned, acknowledged the world over on your supply chain, how you guys kept everything stocked as best you could. How do you feel? How do you feel supplies are now? We're good.
I think we're good. We've always been good.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really think our executive leadership, like they make us feel really confident into what we have and their strategic plan. Obviously, we have amazing leadership that is very transparent with us, so that we can be transparent with our partners, right? So I can tell you, at midst of the pandemic, I was in a different role, not at this store, but I was in a different role. And I remember having a partner say like, ma'am, like you're from corporate, like what's happening? What's going on? I'm scared. Right.
Sure.
And just kind of seeing like the fear in her eye and just reassuring her, like, it's going to be okay. Like, we're not going to put you in danger. Like, we're an amazing company. We have your best interests. And she finally was like, okay, so I'm good, right? I'm good. And like, she don't know me from Adam.
Sure.
But the fact that I had my name badge on and she was able to just connect with me, she was like immediately like, okay, that makes me feel better.
Right.
And so that just kind of goes to show, and the same thing, right? If my leadership is saying, hey, like, you know, we have to make sure that we're all over X, Y, Z. I have to ensure that I'm explaining to my partners the why behind it. If not, they're not going to buy in.
Right.
Right. And we that's where we need to do, we have to make sure that we're articulating that right message to our team.
Well, and at the end of the day, and most like restaurants and especially grocery markets, at the end of the day, your goal was always to keep people safe. I mean, you don't want anybody getting sick on your watch, whether it was this, that, or the other, right? Then at the end of the day, safety. I'm curious. So I know store directors, you kind of have a say, if you will, or you can suggest maybe potential items in a store that might do well, if you will. Is there something that surprises you at this store that you continue to say, hey, I think we need to keep stocking this thing? I put you in a spot, you know what I mean? But I'm curious.
Not necessarily. What I will tell you that we have seen is just a growth in how much organics. So organics, if you look at our produce department, we have a wide variety of organics. And so seeing that in people's baskets, and then seeing how else we can help the community, right? So we've talked a little bit about like consistently having our ear close to the community and seeing what it is that they need. So kind of shifting our mix a little bit to more center store, because I think like if you're starting to eat organics, or you start off in produce, you go with the dirty dozen kind of thing,
right.
But then you will slowly start to kind of change your eating habits in center store. And so how can we be ahead of that, or how do we have the right offerings so that way when the customer is ready to make the full transition, they can find what they're looking for.
Right.
They don't have to go elsewhere, which is, I do not want them going anywhere else, right?
Right.
I want them with me.
but you know, I'm glad you mentioned that about organics doing well. That's always been maybe a preconceived idea, is that we're not very healthy down here, or that it seems like we are becoming health care conscious, and maybe even after this pandemic it's going to be that much more. But that's encouraging to see. So that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
So like if you take a look at like, I'll give you a great example, but like bone broth, right? So that's become pretty popular. So we have like a really nice selection when you take a look at some of the milk. So we carry like Oatly milk, we carry it's like a different vegetarian milk,
the soy stuff and all that.
Yes.
And it does well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's see what's up, guys. I'm telling you, we're getting there. Well, and our chamber's always been ringing the bell, even before COVID. I mean, since I remember, I've been working for 7 years. We've been ringing the bell about healthcare awareness, the idea that there's these food deserts, if you will. But you guys are very much filling those more and more, and we're excited to see that come into the market. Anything you want to brag about? I know you brag about HEB. I know you're bragging about your partners. Anything you want to brag about yourself, or anything? I know that's not the HEB way, but I mean, but you guys should be very proud. It's not how fast it was, and yes, obviously during remodel it was wonky aisles, but to even be open, it was pretty cool, and I think there's something to be said about that. So what the area, you've been here 5 months, it's pretty busy, huh?
Very busy.
Traffic's pretty...
Just trying to get out of my store to go home.
Bad, right?
It's pretty busy.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So we're hoping, and the leadership of our Brooks, to connect New Braunfels to 410.
Okay.
So we think that would obviously help this whole situation, because we certainly are this bad. It's the traffic count is compared, if not worse at this point, to Desaval and I-10.
Oh wow!
And if you've been there, oh no, yeah. So we're working on doing something about that so we can get your customers there fast. But the area is bustling, huh? I mean, during lunch, dinner, this entire parking lots are packed.
Yeah.
Can you speak more on that you've noticed?
So what I will tell you is obviously from the lunch rush, right? But even the weekends. we're rocking on the weekends. It seems like our customer is holding off. Maybe like Monday through Friday, it's steady, but it's not like as busy as the weekends. Weekends we are rocking. So we want to make sure that we are up and ready to go, and that we have the products that you're looking for, whether it's 7:00 at night or 7:00 in the morning.
I'm curious too, beyond the data, maybe just out of conversations or just getting to know folks. I'm almost assuming that you're one of the first grocery store supplies for folks like in Floresville, maybe, or not. Well, there's probably an HEB Floresville. There is, but maybe surrounding areas are coming too. I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we are finding a little bit of pull from kind of the outskirts, but yes, which is surprising, right? Because I asked that. I have one specific customer that I can think of, and so he's like, "Yeah, no, I have my Floresville store, or I have my Pleasanton store, but he's like, I want to see what all the excitement is at your store." And so that's pretty fun, right? Because it's like a trip.
Right.
It's like, hey, let's go into the city.
Right.
Or the other thing is, if they're working in the city, in San Antonio, and they're on their way home, we're the last stop.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, and we're just figuring that ecosystem, because what we hear a lot about is leakage the other way. Is that we have Southsiders that are shopping north and maybe not keeping their dollars here. So that's encouraging to see. Maybe we're bringing them this way. That's a good anchor, and that's great.
I have heard that as well. That our customers here, right? They say, "Hey, I used to have to go to the store.
There you go.
In Alamo Heights. I used to have to go to this store up north.
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, so tell me. I will lean in, and I'm like, so tell me more. Tell me more. What do you like about my store, or what don't you like?
Yeah.
Where I'm super engaged because I want to know.
Right.
And the feedback I've gotten is like, build me a bigger parking lot. I'm like, good Lord, we can't go anywhere. And so, but that's pretty exciting just to hear from them, is that they don't have to go elsewhere.
You nailed it on the head. That's exactly, that.
Did you see my eyes light up? Yeah. I was like, tell me more. I want to know.
No, that's great. To the Central Market or the Quarry or this Brooks area is very much becoming like that. It's very I don't want to say Stone Oak, because it's certainly better, but you get where I'm going with that. And then the mixed use of development that you see here, that it's not been typical. It's pretty well done. Well, Lisa, so you any shout outs you want to give? I know you've been you're a proud HEB employee, but any personal shout outs you want to give?
No, I mean, obviously super blessed to work for such an amazing company. Met my husband there as well.
Is he still with the company?
He is still with the company. Yeah. So my husband actually started off as a bagger in Austin.
Okay.
And so, he's worked his way up.
So the HEB culture is a lot like the Whataburger culture, where you guys love wearing your brand. So how many shirts and stuff do you have at the house? A whole bunch.
Countless, man.
You decorate the Christmas tree like HEB, or
I do have a couple of HEB ornaments, and that's again, when you're living in HEB, it's kind of like Spurs memorabilia, right?
Sure.
If you're a true Spurs fan, you have the ball autographed by different players and stuff like that. So I have a couple of things for my birthday or Christmas that people will give me, and it has the HEB logo, and I'm like, I love it so much. Thank you. How did you know? So it's we're a little diehard if I'm being extreme.
Sure.
But again, a great place to work for. I would not have thought that I would have been here this long, but super fun. But my husband, the same thing. My husband's been with us, I think, going on 16, 17 years.
Oh, man. Okay.
So, but again, start off as a bagger.
So who catered? Was it HEB?
It was the St. Anthony Hotel. They wouldn't let me bring in my own food. But our wedding cake had 2 HE buddies. It had a male buddy and a little girl buddy. Yeah.
That is too cute.
Yeah, it is super cute. But
well, we mentioned you being on our board of directors next year, and we're super excited about that, especially we're talking about the space of getting folks connected to jobs and opportunities and just future growth of the South Side in general. So most folks, it's nice when bigger businesses get involved. It's nice when the store directors get involved. Obviously you see some value, huh? And so can maybe you just brag a little bit about why you are involved in the chamber, why you're looking forward to maybe being on the board?
Absolutely. So, great question. I think most importantly, right, especially when you're working in the store, right, it's kind of like boots on the ground, and so you want to be super engaged and plugged into what's happening around you, whether it's competition, right? I have a Walmart across the street from me. I have a Target to the right from me.
Right.
I also have other little competitors around me.
Sure.
So I want to be 100% engaged, and then the best way to be engaged is through your people, right? We are truly believe, and this is like our company culture. We truly believe that our people are everything. And so how can I best serve my people if I don't know what's happening in the community?
Right.
And so that was one of the reasons why I was looking forward to being part of the chamber, is so that way I'm able to have a good pulse and get a really good understanding, get feedback, right, from my customers, because you guys are my customers. You guys are shopping my store. You're telling me what's happening even when I'm not there. And so that's really important. But most importantly, I want to be able to serve my team, my community, for them to know that my heart's in the right place and that I'm trying to knock down barriers and walls and give them the best HEB that I can.
Right. Well, it takes a good leader, and you're doing that certainly. Well, Elisa, I want to especially thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I know you got to get back to the store, as we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. But we're looking forward to having you on the team in 2021. I think we're going to do some very big things in some very big spaces. So for all our folks at home that have joined us, thank you for being with us. You have been given the business by the South San Antonio Chamber of Commerce.